Hello, welcome everyone to lecture number 15 of Fundamentals of Computing, which is on assembly language, low level language, high level language and the machine language. So here I'll discuss about the machine language, assembly language and high level language. Assembly language is also called as a low level language. So let's start with the first language, that is the machine language. Machine language is nothing but it is made up of zeros and ones. Made up of zeros and ones means what? It is the string of zeros and ones, that is it is written in this form. It will represent some alphabet or some word. Why it is so? Because computer understands only the binary numbers. Why computer understands the binary? That I discussed earlier also, because it is made up of the circuits. In the circuits only two operations can be performed, that is on or off. It is the only programming language that the computer understands. Writing a program using machine language is tedious and time consuming. Why it is tedious? Because suppose if you want to write a first, you will get the decimal representation of this and that will be converted into the binary number. So that's why it's very difficult to write a program using the machine language. For writing programs in machine language, the programmer should have detailed knowledge of components of computer and how the computer works. That is, programmer should have the knowledge of the computer architecture on which he or she is going to write a program in machine language. Why it is so? Because the machine language is, it's a machine dependent. So it is difficult to understand and debug. It is not portable, that is machine dependent. Machine language consists of binary instructions that the computer central processing unit can understand. That is, I told you it is nothing but it's a string of zeros and ones. So suppose for example, if I have taken a string 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, it might represent some instructions. Say load data from a specific memory location. Okay. So this was about the machine language. Now you can understand how difficult it is for a programmer to write a program by using a machine language. Next level of or you can say programming language is the assembly language. It is also called as a low level language. It is a next high level of programming language. Next means what? Next to the machine language. It is also known as low level language. Why? Because still the programmer should have a knowledge of computer architecture on which he or she is going to design a program in assembly language. It uses numeric codes in place of zeros and ones that is used in the machine languages. So in that way it is little bit easier than the machine language. Low level languages is still difficult to understand and debug because here you have to remember the numeric code to perform any specific task, or you can say to give instructions to the computer, you have to remember this numeric codes. It is not portable, that is machine dependent, and it consists of a label, an operation code that we call opcode, and one or more operands. What is this? Labels are used to identify and refer to instructions in the program. Opcode is the numeric that specifies the operations that has to be performed, such as move, add, sub, or CMP. Move means what? The movement of numbers or the variables. Add represents what? The addition. Sub represents the subtraction, and CMP represents the comparison. Operands specifies the register or location in the main memory where data is to be processed is located. So, for example, if I had written move AX comma 5, what it means? Move means what? The moment I said. So, it means what? It will move the value 5 into what? Register which is represented by AX. Add AX comma BX, this instruction will do what? It will add the value in register BX to what? The value in the register AX. Similarly, GMP means what? The jump. So, this instruction jumps to the specific location in the code and which is indicated by what? Which is indicated by label. So, this is how we write a program in an assembly language. Since it is written in an assembly language and computer understands the languages which is binary in nature, means which is written in the form of zeros and ones. So, this assembly language is to be converted into the machine language. For that, we need a translator that converts this assembly language into the machine language. And what is that translator? It's called assembler. So, assembler is a translator that converts, or you can say translates, assembly code into the machine code, and then the program starts executing itself. Assembly language is often used in embedded systems where resources are limited and precise control over hardware is essential. This figure gives you an idea of assembly program. This is the codes which are written in assembly language, because from here you can see the move instructions and others are there. So, the codes which are written in assembly language for the addition of two numbers. One compiler, that is, it is the assembly code which can be compiled through the assembler, and then the program starts executing itself. So, it is the first message is what? Enter the first number, you will add first number. Then the next one is what? Enter the second number, you will add some number, and then it will give what? The sum of these numbers. For printing the sum of two numbers, you have to write these many codes in assembly language. So, still you can see that it is difficult to understand and debug as compared to the languages which are using nowadays, or that we call as a high level languages. So, what is this high level languages? It is next high level of programming language. It is easier to read, write and understand, use commands and syntax that resemble to the natural language, making them easier to learn and use than low level languages like machine code or the assembly language. It is easy to debug because it is easy to understand, that is why it will be easy to debug also. It is portable, that is, it is a machine independent. Suppose you have written a program in one machine and you have executed it also on that machine, and now you want to execute the same program into the another machine, that you can do with the high level languages, but that facility is not there with your low level language, that is assembly language and the machine language. So, in this way the high language is preferred over the your low level language and the machine language. That means what? It is the portable. Examples of high level languages includes Python, C++, JavaScript, Ruby, C, Basic. There are so many high level languages. Programs written in high level languages, now this is written in the language, so this has to be compiled or interpreted. Why? Because this has to be translated into the machine language, as computer understands the machine language only, which is in the form of binary, that is strings of zeros and ones. High level languages are designed to be more user friendly, allowing programmers to focus on the logic and structure of their programs rather than the intricate details of how the computer processes them. This is the advantage of a high level languages over the assembly language and the machine language. There are many different high level languages which exist for a variety of reasons. Some programming languages were developed to be particularly suitable to solve a specific type of problem, while others were developed with the specific goals, such as to aid beginner problems. I am taking the example of writing a sum of two numbers. You have already seen how long the code was written in the assembly language for the addition of two numbers. Now I have taken the same thing, addition of two numbers, that has to be written in various high level language. First one is the Python. Here you have to assign nothing but here num1 and num2, these are the two numbers that you want to add. You assign what, 5 to num1 and 10 to num2, and then simply add it, store the result in answer, and then print the answer. So how simple it is now. In the case of a JavaScript, use the syntax of a JavaScript because every language has its own syntax. Why I said so? Because whenever we talk about the language, it means what? That is governed by the grammar. Grammar is nothing but it is the set of rules that defines the language. Similarly, in the case of programming languages also, we have a syntax or the format that has to be followed. So every language has a syntax, or you can say format. In the case of a JavaScript, you have to write what? Var num1 is equals to 5, num2, this is the second number, which stores a value 10, and answer, which contains what? The sum of these, and lastly console this. In case of C hash, here you have to define the data type of num1. It means what? It stores the integer value only, and what value you have assigned in num1? That is 5. In num2, you have assigned a value 10. Then add these two numbers and store the result in answer, and then print the answer, that is the 15. In case of a Visual Basic, here you have to write dim num1 as integer is equal to 5, dim num2 as integer is equal to 10, and then answer as integer is equal to num1 plus num2, and write this. In case of a Java, you have to write int num1 is equal to 5, int num2 is equal to 10, int answer is equal to num1 plus num2, and then system.out.println answer, which prints what? The addition of these two numbers, that is the 15. Why I have discussed all this? From here you can see what, with it's Python or it's a JavaScript or C hash or Visual Basic or Java, every language has its own syntax. The same program, the same problem, which is the addition of two numbers, is written in a different ways in the different languages. So what I have discussed till now, it is your machine language, which is close to the hardware. Then next one is the low level language, which is the assembly language. So anything that you want to execute, it has to be converted into what? Into the machine language. So assembler is a translator which translates this assembly language into the binary codes or the machine language, and then it will execute itself. In the case of high level languages, whether it's a basic or C, C++, Java, Python, R, whatever it is, you need a translator. These translator, it may be your compiler or it may be interpreter. So it will do what? Not only it will convert this high level language into the machine language, it will also check what the syntactic and semantic errors in the programs. So these are the three types of programming languages. This is the basic categorization, that is the languages are categorized as a machine language, low level language and the high level language. So this is all about machine language, assembly language and the high level languages. Thank you.